and welcome to another edition of Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival on the Air, a presentation of the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. I'm your host, Faye Hauser-Price. The Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival presents performers from all over the world who come together to entertain our festival audiences. Our special guest today is a performer in the 17th annual festival, and that is actress or actor Barbara Cole. Barbara has known that she wanted to act from a very young age, but she didn't perform her first play until she was a senior in high school. Well, despite that, she earned a BFA in theater and with an emphasis in acting from San Diego State University. Barbara's career includes appearances in film, television, stage, and on the web. She performed her solo piece, Surviving Chrysalis, at Festival 2010.
My spiritual friend Joy says I'm going through the butterfly syndrome. Apparently, before the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it melts down in the chrysalis, and it's nothing for a while. It literally chemically dissolves, and it's just nothing. Just a glob. That's how I'm feeling. Very globbish.
Barbara, welcome.
Thank you. Good
Well,
to be here.
Oh, thank you. It's good to have you. You knew at an early age that you wanted to act, but yet you didn't perform in a play until you were much older than when you first realized you wanted to act.
This is true.
Yeah, what made you realize that acting was your calling then?
I think this might sound cliche, but I saw Barbara Streisand in Funny Girl, and I just connected with that character that she plays. I rented it recently to figure out why, and the first act or whatever where she's auditioning, I just connected to that. So, and she's so charming and funny.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's a good role model to pattern
right.
yourself after, for sure. You went on to earn a BFA in theater with an emphasis on acting at San Diego State University. And I understand that one of your college professors sort of influenced you to get the degree with the emphasis in acting. And how did he influence you?
This is how the story goes.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get your degree, you can get your drama degree at San Diego State in acting or directing or set design or a general emphasis. A lot of my friends just had the general emphasis because that was kind of easy. But I had traveled from Northern California down to Southern California at 18, which was, very young and vulnerable, to get my degree in acting. This was my chance because I hadn't done much of it as a younger person in high school. And so in order to get your degree in acting, you had to be accepted. You had to audition and be accepted into the advanced acting class. And I auditioned twice and didn't get in. I don't know why. And so I went to the professor and I asked him, what the problem was. I really didn't understand why. I thought I was doing fine. And he said, Barbara, you're not a natural. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means that you have to work harder. And that moment changed my life. And because I like to have a good time, and he was right. I was more into the social scene and having fun, and up until that point I didn't realize how much work it takes to be successful at this, to be good. And so in preparing for that final audition for advanced acting, I put a lot of work into it, and I was accepted into the class with distinction. So it was quite an honor and a good lesson, a good life lesson, and I think most of the directors I work with now think I'm a pretty hard worker, but I still find time to socialize and party.
Oh, that's good. And that was a great lesson to learn.
And the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival has great parties, so.
Oh, okay.
So
your acting career, and you have had a career, so that's wonderful. That paid off, to get that training under your belt.
Yeah.
It has spanned both television and film and theater. Do you have a preference for any one of those media?
You always hear people ask that question on these kinds of shows, and There's a lot of stage actors who think film is really boring, and I really like film. I like the chance to do it over again and experiment, and it's more low key. But I got to tell you, and preparing to perform again on stage with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival was grueling. It was so grueling. There were many times when I said, I'm never going to do this again. And then as soon as I got on stage and connected with that audience, I mean, I remember leaving the stage and I was all by myself out in the parking lot, and I called my husband right away, and I called my daughter, and I was so elated. I couldn't wait to do it again. So it's hard. I mean, I think film's a little easier and a little more relaxed, but you certainly don't get off the set with that feeling of elation and connection. So hard to decide.
There is something about the energy that flows back and forth between.
Oh, it's
an actor and
magic.
the audience. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any particular character or role that you've played that resonates with you?
You know what? I have fun. I can't think of one. I mean, I love doing my own material.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite, because it's personal. And actually, what I love when I go out to theater is when people tell their honest stories. I was just at a workshop at the Howard Fine Studio, and the students had written their own material, and it was absolutely compelling and riveting. So I like seeing an honest, true story, and I like connecting. I love one-person shows for that reason. Now I can't remember what your question was. Oh,
Well,
and
did you
then
have
on film, if I had a
favorite
favorite role, they've just been fun. I've played eco-activists, which is very close to my heart, and I've played neurotic women, which I don't know, why, but it sure is fun. So
That crazy spirit in there.
everybody's got a little crazy in them.
You wrote your first one-woman show, which was, I think, entitled The Rocking Chair
Riddle. The Rocking
Okay.
Chair Riddle.
And what inspired you to write that? It was about becoming a mother?
A new mom. Yeah. Well, I won't say that becoming a new mom necessarily inspired me. What inspired me was the fact that I was a new mom, and I didn't want to have that be the end of my acting career. So I was determined not to let that happen. And so, and also I think writing and performing one-person show is sort of a milestone for actors. And I just felt like it was a challenge. It was the next challenge. And so when Jack, my little boy, was sleeping during his nap time, every morning I would write. And that was the first time I'd done any writing, and it was such a joyful experience.
And
So-
why did you start writing your own piece? I mean, what propelled you to do a solo piece?
The challenge and the milestone to, I guess, just to say I did it. It was just the next challenge. I'm writing a screenplay now. That's the next challenge now. So you always gotta up the ante, I
Talk
think.
a little bit about that screenplay a little later, but I understand that Surviving Chrysalis was the sequel to The Rocking
Oh
Chair
yeah,
Riddle?
so I wrote The Rocking Chair Riddle when I had my first baby, and then actually, as determined as I was for that not to put an end to my acting career, the second baby came along, and Lucy, my daughter, who's 14 now, and that was the end of my acting career temporarily. And so when it was time to go back, because I just, actually for a long time I forgot that I wanted to be an actor. I was very involved in the PTA. I became an activist for environmental issues and animal rights issues. And then one day it occurred to me that my true passion was acting. All right, where am I going with this story now?
Well, you you were writing this as a sequel.
Okay,
to,
yeah.
to-
So I was going to just remount the original show, The Rocking Chair Riddle, from becoming a new mom. 8 years had passed, and I thought, well, I'll just do the show again, dust it off, and do it again. But I really cannot pinpoint what happened, but it ended up a sequel. I ended up writing new material. I didn't know I had it in me. I didn't know I was capable of writing more material, and that was a wonderful, wonderful growing experience.
Right, I'm
that
sure
there's
it was.
just this unending, and as a writer, there's just this unending river of material that you discover.
Well, when
So-
you live, you find new experiences to write about, new
And
lessons.
your kids get older,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Point is, Lord, I never will know the truth. Maybe it's just better that way. It's in God's hands now, Lloyd. Yeah, you know that. Yes, you do know in the church. It's where I'm learning about forgiveness, Lloyd. And I forgive you. For Jesus, the list just goes. And I forgive you too. Church is where I met Floyd. Lloyd. And you believe it, but he ain't nothing like you know. He don't drink or smoke or cuss. He's got himself a kitty cat. Starting over with Floyd, Lloyd. Gonna get on the bus, Gus. Make a new plan, Stan.
Now, what inspired you to create a trilogy? Because I understand that you are doing another piece to this,
Well,
to
so
Surviving
yeah.
Chrysalis and the Rocking Chair Riddle.
You know, when I got off stage, I first performed Surviving Chrysalis, the sequel, in San Diego. I had a network of theater and acting industry friends there. And when I got off stage, actually, it won an award. So that was very inspiring to keep it up, very affirming. But I got off stage and there was a playwright named Jim Caputo. And he said, don't let it die here. Don't let this be the end of it. And it hadn't occurred to me to, where it would go from there. And anyways, I continued to workshop and write and take writing classes and came up with this idea that I would like to merge together part one and the sequel part two, part one being new motherhood, part two being midlife, with a third phase of a woman's life. And so the third phase was based on a story that my grandmother told me that had to do with my grandfather dying from Alzheimer's. So it's based in a true story. So I performed this show that we're talking about in the Hollywood Fringe, thanks in large part to the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival, because I had not done my show in so long. And the festival gave me the affirmation and the courage and the inspiration to go for this bigger, longer show, which I just recently performed in the Hollywood Fringe Festival, the first ever Hollywood Fringe Festival. And it was a lovely experience, and it was really special because my mom came down to see it, and it was based on a story that, it was based on her parents.
Right.
So it was a really beautiful thing
Yeah.
for me and my mom. And
Yes.